Tonight, more bloodshed in Gaza. Israel believed to have hit tents outside Al-Aqsa Hospital, killing and injuring a number of people, including journalists, according to Gaza health officials. I fell to the ground, this journalist tells NBC News, and saw my leg was swollen. We were in a journalist tent. Why did they target us?
Apologies for blurring the image of the journalist who was victimized by that airstrike. His face was bloodied, and that kind of gory imagery unfortunately doesn't bode well for YouTube. Nonetheless, despite the brazen disregard for human lives that we've seen by the Israeli government and the IDF, the Biden administration has just approved yet another round of military weaponry for the Israeli government. But before we get to more details on that, it is worth diving into that brutal IDF strike on a tent encampment in the courtyard of the Al-Aqsa Hospital. Let's hear more.
The Israeli military issuing this statement, calling the attacks a precision strike meant to minimize harm to uninvolved civilians, saying the IDF and ISA struck an operational Islamic Jihad command center positioned in the courtyard of the Al-Aqsa Hospital.
Though the Israelis described this as a precise attack on Islamic Jihad militants intended to minimize harm to civilians. But inside the hospital were injured journalists who claimed that there had been no militants and that they had been working in the camp for months.
We are unarmed journalists and we have nothing to do with anything. We were preparing to see where we should go to cover the news.
I just want to pause and take a moment to discuss the absolute gaslighting and insanity of the claim coming from Israel that Islamic Jihad was operating a command center out in the open in a hospital's courtyard. Is anyone really buying that? Is anyone really buying that?
Yeah, well, look, number one, every politician in Washington is pretending to buy it because remember, 100% of the Republican Party and 80% of the Democratic Party, not its voters. The voters are the exact opposite, okay? But of the politicians at the national level, they're all against a ceasefire. 80% of the Democratic politicians, 100% of the Republican politicians are all against a ceasefire, saying, no, kill more. We want you to kill more, not less. So that's the kind of disgusting pigs that run our government, let alone what Israel's doing. Now, in terms of does anyone in their right mind actually believe anything that the IDF puts out? Yeah, if you're super biased, and it happens because of loyalties, etc., and ethnic background. I know it happens in my community, in the Turkish American community. I know that it happens in this community. It's a normal human phenomenon that happens in every community. Yes, those people will believe anything the IDF says. Oh yeah, I bet it was all Hamas and Islamic Jihad. Oh yeah, the baby, Islamic Jihad. The 18 women there, all Islamic Jihad. I made up that number. The actual number is 300 people dead in the hospital. Al-Shifa. Yeah, and as they're going through Al-Shifa, reporters said it looked like a scene out of a horror movie, what they had done to that hospital. And did they then come out with proof? Oh yeah, here's the Islamic Jihad Center, etc. No, they never bother.
Why would they? They don't need to.
They don't need to because what they have to do is they just say, oh, they're all goddamn terrorists. And American media runs headlines saying, Israel says they were all goddamn terrorists and had it coming. And paragraph 17, it'll say, there's no actual evidence that they're terrorists. And it looks like it's all innocent people that were murdered there. But anyways, the headlines already did the damage. And by the way, a week later, they'll run a pretty good piece in Washington Post or New York Times or CNN explaining that in fact, everyone murdered was murdered and they were all civilians. And oh golly gee, we fell for the IDF propaganda again earlier. And by the way, 98 out of 100 of you saw the headline when we put it up on there, and only 2 of you saw the actual story we put up a week later in the middle of the newspaper.
So there's no end in sight when it comes to this war. If you're under the impression that there's only one final leg of this war and that's in Rafah, I think that you're joking yourself. But remember, President Joe Biden has declared that an invasion into Rafah, the southern border town of Gaza, is his red line. But what does Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have to say about that? What is his response? Let's take a look.
אין ניצחון בלי כניסה לרפיח.
There is no victory without entering Rafah. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying today the operation in Rafah has been approved and will move forward, a move the Biden administration has called a red line.
So the invasion into Rafah will happen. I have no doubt about that. And what is Biden's response to Netanyahu crossing his clear red line? Providing more weaponry to Israel, which means there was never a red line. It was all talk. So according to new reporting by John Hudson over at the Washington Post, there's been yet another round of weapons sent to Israel to the tune of billions of dollars. The new arms packages include more than 1,800 MK-84 2,000-pound bombs. Those are the bunker buster bombs we've been talking about. 500 MK-82 500-pound bombs. According to Pentagon and State Department officials familiar with the matter, the 2,000-pound bombs have been linked to previous mass casualty events throughout Israel's military campaign in Gaza. Now, if you're wondering just how much money this is all worth, and remember, this is just one of the many, many rounds of weapons that have been sent to Israel since this war began. Last week, the State Department authorized the transfer of 25 F-35A fighter jets and engines worth roughly $2.5 billion. The case was approved by Congress in 2008, allegedly. I'm not really buying that, and there's no clarity about this in the report. I would have loved for Hudson to elaborate on this a little more in his report, but nonetheless. So the department was not required to provide a new notification to congressional lawmakers. The MK-84 and MK-82 bombs authorized this week for transfer also were approved by Congress years ago, but had not yet been fulfilled, allegedly. I mean, obviously that line is coming from the Pentagon.
Yeah.
We're supposed to sit here and believe that Congress passed legislation or approved weapons transfers all the way back in 2008, 16 years ago. And it isn't until now that the White House is transferring the weapons over to Israel.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So number one, I don't believe anything that the Pentagon or the American government is saying. They will do anything to help the right-wing government of Israel. There are no red lines. That's a joke. Anyone reporting a red line without noting that it's a joke is a fraudulent reporter, which covers like 97% of them. Or let's be honest about it. Let's be clear about it. Biden set a red line. By the way, when he said that, we pointed out, no, he didn't exactly say that. And they're giving him credit for talking tough when he didn't earn that credit, and it's not true. So you could break down our reporting, it holds up 100%. Okay, we tell you stuff that's gonna happen before it happens, because this stuff's not hard to figure out, okay? Now, you look at, if it was true that he has a red line, well, Netanyahu just spit in his face, said, I'm gonna cross your red line.
Yep.
And what is Biden doing?
Send more weapons.
He just gave him a $2.5 billion gift, which he claims, oh yeah, we had this in our couch. And we meant to give it to Israel in 2008. Oh, look at what I found. $2.5 billion of taxpayer money, all in the most lethal weapons we've created, minus the nukes. By the way, they say Israel has asked for more, but we didn't give them more. What possibly, the 2,000-pound bomb is the biggest one we have, I believe. What did they want, nukes? Did they want to nuke Gaza? That would be a hell of a story. So the 2,000-pound bombs, guys, are the ones that we think are so immoral to drop inside a city that we didn't do it when our soldiers were heavily, in the biggest fight of their lives in Fallujah and in a couple of other cities in Iraq. And we refused to drop those bombs to protect our own soldiers because it was so deeply immoral to kill that many civilians to try to take out a military target. But it's not immoral enough when we just gift it to Israel. Hey, Israel, oh, you'd like to murder in a deeply immoral way? Oh yeah, go ahead. I mean, the American taxpayers are still funding it, right? Who cares as long as it's Israel? I mean, America wouldn't do it, we're not. But as long as Israel asks us, we'll give them anything we want. And now, story broke just before we got on air, that they want to do $18 billion more in weapons sales.
Right.
So, where's your red line? If you're a Biden fan, Your best argument is he's the weakest person in America. He's so pathetically weak. If he draws a red line, of course he doesn't mean it. He's a coward and a loser and a pathetic blob who will do whatever the right wing government of Israel will ask him to do. Oh, you must be so proud as a Biden supporter.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.